Yes, sir.
ವಚನದಲ್ಲಿ ಮೂರ್ತಿ ತುಂಬಿ ಮನದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ನೆನಹು ತುಂಬಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕೀರ್ತಿ ಸಂಗಮ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಚರಣ ತುಂಬಿ. Members, C. Ravindra Koya, Chairman of Bangalore Branch of SRH of ICI, the wholeheartedly welcome you all for the 86th Jnana Dasoha live webcast session from Bangalore branch. Today and tomorrow we are having a program with under the aegis of Digital Accounting and Assurance Board of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. It is a Central Council committee. The 2 days program has been carried out, and the man behind for this program and he is heading the as a vice chairman of Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, and our beloved Central Council member CA Dayaniwas Sharma sir with us. On behalf of all the viewers and managing committee members of Bangalore branch, I wholeheartedly welcome sir. Welcome you, sir.
Sir.
The is modernizing your CA practice with digital and RPA. The viewing you can see the modern person CA Saurabh Goenka with us. On behalf of all the viewers and on behalf of managing committee members of Bangalore branch, I wholeheartedly welcome CA Saurabh for the today's session. Welcome you, Saurabh.
So much, sir. It's a pleasure to be with all of you today.
Dear members, the Bangalore branch is continuously hosting the live webinars for the benefit of our members. Accordingly, the Central Council Committee, Digital Accounting and Assurance Board has given to conduct for the 2 sessions today and more tally prime for professionals. The change of approach in by C. Puneet Mehta from Mumbai is going to address, and today Saurabh is going to address for the today's session how our modernizing CA practice in this digital era. He is going to take session, and today special guest is a very man called digital man in the ICAI. We can see the success of it is effectively been using members and also serving the non-members using the name of CAs is entirely benefited. I personally, as a member, I benefited a lot. So definitely you all benefited for this initiatives, and next initiative is SSP. Why I'm telling this? Only 2 main things from Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, because that is members are day to day we are using. For the SSP, you all know the membership fee has to be paid through SSP only. While getting into SSP, they will comment lot from last 1 year I'm listening. And recently Bangalore branch also opened the help desk. And after that we are receiving the comments. Once they start using, they only giving comments. It is an user friendly. So all digital era been involved in the Chartered Accounts Institute. The man enter into this, that is none other than CA Dayaniwas Sharma. My compliments to you from Bangalore branch, sir. Members, again, the today's session is an 86th session. You requested sir to address. So you all members, because of the Bangalore branch members active participation only, or all Jnana Dasoha becomes successful. So on behalf of all members, on behalf of managing committee members of Bangalore branch, I wholeheartedly welcome you all the delegates for the today's session. Dear members, only today we have a Central Council members. We can take the input from what is going on at head office and what will be next. So with that, once again, I welcome Dayaniwas Sharma sir and CA Saurabh Goenka for the today's session. I request our Bangalore branch secretary Srinivas to formally introduce the today's chief guest and speaker. Over to Srinivas.
Thank you, Chairman, for rendering a welcome address.
I welcome all the members and viewers for a very interesting session for today's session on modernizing your practice with a digital touch and RPA. To speak on this subject, we have eminent speakers and especially we have a chief guest with digital knowledge and passion as a digital this thing. It's my pleasure to give a brief introduction of both our chief guest and speaker. Anyway, our chief guest doesn't require any introduction for the benefit of members. As a protocol, I just give a brief introduction of the chief guest. The Dayaniwas Sharma, FCA Central Council member and Vice Chairman of Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, is a digital man, dynamic, young, energetic, charming leader of South India, representing South India in Central Council. He has been elected to the Central Council of ICA for the period 2019-22. Currently, he has been nominated on the board of XBRL India, Vice Chairman of Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, Deputy Convener of India's Implementation Group and member of various committees, including Strategy Perspective Planning and Monitoring Committee, ICA Vision. Yeah, he was represented as chairman and member of various committees in ICA in his last year tenure also. Presented papers on various subjects in national and international forums. He possesses more than 20 years of experience in the field of auditing, accounting, corporate restructuring, valuation, due diligence, and transaction advisory service and other related financial management services. He is not only a CA and is holding a certificate on information systems auditor and certified forensic auditor. His other achievements are he has been covered by a coffee table book and recognized as Young India Visionary by IMG Innovative Media Group in whole of UAE. With this brief introduction, I present before you our chief guest, none other than CA Dayaniwas Sharma. Welcome you, sir. And we have with us our young speaker, Saurabh Goenka, a chartered accountant and a digital transformation professional with more than decades experience in process automation, process improvement, digital transformation, and strategy leadership. Having worked on multiple process transformation initiatives for large organizations, he helps organizations in scaling and democratizing digital transformation and also shares his knowledge across multiple conferences and industry events on digital transformation. Using his proprietary ROQ framework and more than 20,000 man-hours of strategy and digital transformation consulting, Saurabh is seen as a go-to industry expert for digital transformation solution. Co-founded by him, MindMap Digital recently awarded amongst the top 10 RPA solution providers in India. Is a bridge between ideas and solutions for all who carry the vision of adapting digital and scaling process to be truly ready for a global digital economy. Saurabh has also created a very large digital skilling academy in the form of MindMap Learning and is working on a EdTech platform to give access to world-class, affordable and job-oriented digital skilling ecosystem to at least 1 million users by the year 2022. With this brief introduction, I present before you CA Saurabh Goenka. Welcome you, sir. Word to Chairman.
So now I request to the CA Dayaniwas Sharma to address members. As Dayaniwas Sharma sir know, the Bangalore branch is started in all over India. Before lockdown announced on 18th March, we started our webinar series, and today we have reached 86. And the guidance, the every central council member and SRC chairman, whatever they are saying guidance, we are complying. Accordingly, Dayaniwas Sharma sir is always helping hand for the Bangalore branch. So I request him to address for the members. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ravindra sir, Chairman. Bangalore branch, the first man of Bangalore and the largest branch of the country as such. Really compliments to you to reach out to this 86th number, which is something very astonishing and very impressive. And I think I compliment with you the entire managing committee of Bangalore branch to ensure that these things are going in a right direction. Amazing. and your experience with KACC or Karnataka Chartered Accountant Association has given you more exposure with regards to reaching out to the right people to get good people to come and speak for the benefit of members. So you have used your position very effectively. I compliment you for that. And we look forward for your higher participation going forward from branch to wherever upward direction it is. I compliment you. I wish you that you should succeed in all respect. And Srinivas has, thank you, sir. And Srinivas, undoubtedly a very big right hand for you, who's been supporting all throughout in capacity of a secretary. If chairman is not a chairman till the time you are having a fantastic secretary. It is same thing which is applicable in every form of profession body. So Srinivas, I compliment you for giving that kind of extended support to Ravindra Koreji during these tough times and ensuring that you all are doing a great job to reach out 86th number of number in the webinars as such. Fantastic to you, and compliments again. And more importantly, thank you both that you keep me very close to Bangalore and Karnataka for that matter, to for any kind of help whenever I have been of any use. It is always a pleasure to be working with you all guys, and very soon all the problems are going to be sorted, and now we are going to have our own premises very soon getting ready, and we are starting the process which I'm going to talk to you on an independent note. And Saurabh, undoubtedly a fantastic chartered accountant, and more importantly, a technocrat chartered accountant, I'll say. A person who's been giving institute a lot of inputs. You will be surprised that the material which has been developed by him on robotic process automation. Ravindra sir, I can tell you, Australia Institute of Chartered Accountants had to come and ask for us, kindly give that material to us. So that is the quality of material which Saurabh has done. He has been delivering lectures across the country, across the branches, across the regions. The way he's actually been accepted, I think we all should be proud that he's coming from South and particularly from Bangalore. Yes. Compliments to you, Saurabh, for doing a great job. Amazing it is. Amazing it is. And I request you to kindly continue doing it. When I'm going to talk about something more, I'm going to make his reference. So don't shy away and get off the screen. Be there. Right? And friends, I can tell you one thing is Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, which is now the country, not only the country, I think globally we are the first institute to have such kind of board. And today we are talking about CA practice with digital and RPA in this era, how we actually accept. Might be before this pandemic, if this was being talked, people would have actually thought it is only for larger firms. But just imagine the bank audits also have been done using technology, sitting at home or office. So this is how we have actually accelerated our learning experience and adoption of technology. So I can only tell you that chartered accountants have always been doing a great job. They understood laws, they understood mechanism, and they guided a lot of businesses. And this is the time where when it came to them, they quickly adopted technology and they started moving forward. And Bangalore branch has been always ahead in most of the cases on technology adoption. So for me, though I'm sitting in Hyderabad, but Bangalore is always ahead in the technology process. And Ravindra sir, you are ensuring that our members are getting the biggest benefit. Before I talk something, let me just share with you, where is your institute moving towards? Has your institute adopted technology? Has your institute actually understood what technology is? I can only make one statement very strongly. When a couple of years back, ICI was the first institute in the world to think about digital accounting and assurance board. So this is where the new foundation of the institute started. Friends, I'll just share with you how institute before this pandemic itself started adopting technology. Let me take an example of Udin, as rightly said by Ravindra sir. I am thankful, I am really lucky that when I got in, I had this opportunity to work on the Udin monitoring group, which is one of the most crucial group. And most important part is we are again globally pioneer in the concept of Udin, whether it is SAFA, CAPA, IFAC, All these three bodies have with folded hands come to institute and told that kindly spare this technology for us. And you will be happy to know, with the new thoughts which we have got to the council, for the first time ICI has registered its patent and copyright on the name of ICI. This is where we are actually moving towards. This is how institute is moving towards. This is the vision with which we are actually thinking and working on. So first thing is, now UDIN has generated more than 2 crore UDINs. Just imagine within a period of 1.5 years, and just see the value of system which has been there. What more you want? When income tax department now comes and says all your income tax returns are going to be re-verified with the UDIN site, this is the advantage our members are going to get at the last level. There has been difficulties by the smaller firms with tax practitioners, and people who are not chartered accountants have signed the financial statements. Now we have this as a tool which is actually supporting and guarding all the profession across the length and breadth of the country. So this is the first thing. Second thing, SSP portal. I am again fortunate to be part of this. Where, just imagine, you might have seen huge amount of migration happening on the accounting side, right? Ravinder sir, your client also might have gone to SAP, ERP, or moved to some other location. How many years it take to establish the accounting package? Saurabh, you are there, right? Kindly tell me how many years it takes to stabilize a SAP or a ERP package, and what is
It
the
will
volume
easily take about 2 to 3 years to just implement it.
to implement it.
And to
And
develop a
then,
like that is a very long process.
so today I would like to tell you, friends, last year when I got into the council, when we were being given responsibility of SSP, within 3 months we implemented it. In 1 year, we stabilized it, and you will be shocked to know the leadership at the top. Last year Praful sir, this year Atul sir, going forward Nihar sir, the way they are supporting this concept. 5 crore data is being moved from the physical and partly digital form to the SSP site. 5 crore data, and today we are on a stabilized mode. So this is where our institute is moving with regards to adoption of technology. Nothing was working, but ICI site was working with regards to registration, completion, examination form, applications, everything was happening when entire thing was locked. Just imagine if SSP was not there, what was the situation? Followed with digital learning hub. 3 lakh minutes of learning is not a small number. Convert into the number of years, you will be surprised to know. And we are very happy as a digital accounting and assurance board, where I am the vice chairman. The largest number of minutes which are clogged are on DAB programs which are being given. And I'm really happy to say that one of the most important part, which is robotic process automation, which is a high quality data, which has been produced and given by Saurabh kind of person, and his team has supported us very well. So compliments to you, Saurabh. And because of this, Australia Chartered Accountants and Global Chartered Accountant firm bodies are coming to ICI for asking the access of digital learning hub. This is where we are moving towards. So adoption of technology, it's at peak. Followed with the new website, kindly go and check. You will all be happy with the kind of exploration which we can do. Followed with the entire DC cases are now digitized. We are actually started first institute to start disciplinary cases, though it is not a happy note, but yes, on virtual mode, and all the cases today are registered and are available for reference purpose on the site. This is also been done during this COVID time. Followed with the entire council meetings and the data which used to print, huge number of data amount was printed, is now converted into technology. We are all using technology at its core. Furthermore, the examination evaluation, where people were having a lot of concern, now it is stabilized. We started with intermediate. Now the entire examination evaluation is going to happen online. A person who is registered only will be in position to verify those papers. So it is going to be continuously recorded when you are doing an evaluation, so that any person is not a chartered accountant who is doing evaluation, where we have faced lot of problem. We do not want to face those kind of problem. Now the entire examination evaluation is going to happen online. So this is one more new thing which we are coming out with. Now I am the chairman of peer review board, and the entire peer review mechanism, hopefully by end of February, because of COVID we got stuck with the vendor. Otherwise we were ready to go for an online review mechanism. Hopefully by February we will be completing the entire peer review process. Everything can be done online. You need not go and visit anywhere. So data can be uploaded. I hope I am audible, right? Okay. So friends, my point is, when institute has moved so much ahead, don't you think that it is time where the members also at larger level has to go into it? Let me talk about Digital Accounting and Assurance Board, which is doing two flagship courses. One is on DISA and second is on FAFD. Now DISA is now 3.0. This is again being launched during this COVID time. And now we are very happy to say that we have empaneled ANSI consultant. ANSI is the American National Standard setters of quality. That means the moment I complete one course and examination, we will be going through a test process which is already initiated. And once that certification is received, we will be equivalent to CISA globally. This is the biggest gain which our chartered accountants are going to get on a global footing. Followed with forensic course, we are the first institute in the world to come out with a comprehensive forensic standards. We are the first institute to come with forensic standards in the world. Out of 32, 16 are already released for public exposure. C&AG, RBI, SFIO, all are party to it. And we are very happy to say that we have introduced the concept of L1 to L5 in forensic. L1 means, I'll just describe that a chartered accountant or article who is getting trained under you, who has to complete ITT training. Now in that ITT, we have embedded forensic and data analytics as their curriculum, which has been adopted by BOS, and now the training is already started. Just imagine the article who is going to complete and qualify very soon will be a qualified, half qualified forensic auditor and half qualified data analytic expert. There are many such things which I can continue talking, but here I do not want to take much time. Whenever Ravindra sir will call me to talk on specifically what institute is doing, describing each and every activity, you will really feel happy about and proud about our institute, the way we are moving forward. Just when I'm talking about L1, which is my article student, L5 is with Gujarat Science Forensic University, which has been converted into National Forensic University. We have got an MOU signed. The moment we are going to complete our forensic course with NSFU, you will be listed in their site to service 80 countries on the financial forensic. This is where we have already moved. This is where we have already moved, and now the next course is going to be announced soon, once because it is a very practical oriented and you need to be on the house to learn those things. Similarly, I can continue talking, but again, let me restrict it to just say one thing. Lastly, and in concluding way, structured data is the future of this profession. If you do not understand the structured data mechanism and use of that, I think you are going to miss out a major thing. The only answer which I can give you is Government of India has started looping in all the laws, and without data analytics knowledge and artificial intelligence, we will not be in position to service our clients and the nation at large. So my request to you is, one side when we are talking about accounting standard, company law board, company law, this GST and all. Second side, which is the bigger side, all will come in one side, but this technology learning is on the other side, because you cannot service this portion if you don't have this knowledge going forward. So data and its usage is going to be very important going forward, and structured data is something which you need to really understand in the times to come. So I wish you a great learning experience, friends, and my wishes, and I know that Gaurav is going to do his best to make RPA understanding and everything very easy and lucid. So look forward for Saurabh. Saurabh, I will be going out, but again, we'll surely be in touch. Ravindra sir, thank you very much for inviting me, and Srinivas, always as you have been supporting. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity in Bangalore branch. I'm really indebted and honored to be part of this group. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your why the things we need to listen from the central council member is what is going on the council, and that connectivity is the most important. Yes, we are sitting in the Bangalore branch. We are promptly honoring the guidelines of the central council. Whatever they will take the decisions, we are the followers. We are the executors. So definitely, your address for the today exactly what institute is taking initiatives, and I came to know that Mr. Saurabh, the talent also with from your side, sir. Thank you. And definitely Bangor branch is complimenting you for your address and continuous support for the Bangor branch activities. So hope this corona will go, and we can have it at least in 2021. We are expecting our 17th state level conference. We are waiting for that, sir. Thank you very much for once again for your address, sir. And definitely we'll meet in the other occasion. Thank you, Dayaniwas, sir. And I request Saurabh to address the members.
Thank you so much, Chairman Sir, for inviting me and having me here. And of course, I never fall short of appreciation for the phenomenal work which Dayabhai has done for the institute. And whatever he spoke about today, trust me, that's the tip of the iceberg. I know a part of and the kind of vision they carry for the entire institute. It's really commendable. Dayabhai always tells everybody that he kind of pulled me back into the institute. That's really true. I wasn't really connected with the institute for quite some time, and then he kind of pulled me back in, and I've been really lucky and fortunate to share some of this knowledge with all our brothers and sisters present here today. And what I'm going to do is, without spending more time on small talk, let me quickly, get right into the agenda. I just want a quick confirmation if you guys are able to see my screen. Can
Yes,
you guys
Saurabh.
see my right now?
Yes, it can be.
Great. All right. Perfect. So guys, today's topic is modernizing your CA practice with digital and RPA. And I think I have about 90 minutes left with you, and I'll try to make the best usage of that time. In this entire process, at any point of time, if my connectivity is poor or if you're not able to hear me, please let me know. And of course, you can always put in your questions in the comment boxes, and I'll be looking at the questions every once in a while. So also, please apologize for my throat. I've been having a little bit of a cold. Nothing to worry about in Corona terms, but yeah, just a little bit of a warning there. So, I've already been introduced. Don't want to spend more time there. But in terms of the agenda for today's session, I'm going to first be talking about what digital transformation is and how is it affecting the world of finance. Why is it so relevant for people like us to understand what this digital transformation is and what does it really mean for our CA profession? And of course, the primary theme of today's webinar is a technology which is known as RPA. RPA also stands for Robotics Process Automation. So we'll understand what RPA is as a technology, and I'll also help you in creating a roadmap for yourself in case you want to go ahead and pick RPA to try and transform some of your projects for your clients, for your office, or some of the people who I've spoken with recently, they also started a whole digital practice. So I'll give you examples in terms of how that whole thing can be done. I'll be sharing with you videos of actual bots and show how they can do things like automated invoice processing, automated data entry, automated accounting. Depending on how much time we have, I'll be sharing some of these examples with you. Then, of course, I'll spend 2 to 3 minutes on what are some of the other technologies which are impacting the CA profession, apart from just robotics process automation. And then I'm going to talking about, you know, three levels, which with those three levels, how can you move up that ladder and modernize your practice, right? Both from how do I more digital presence and acquire more customers to offer automated solutions and multiple different facets. And of course, then we'll close with a note of what the finance of future looks like. How is the CA profession changing right now? And what is the new profession and what can you do too right now to get started and take a part of it? Guys, the intention of this session, and I'm sure the noble intention of Ravindra sir also when he set up this virtual CPE meet was for you to take away as much information as possible, which can translate into real tangible benefits for yourself. And hence, to continue with that spirit, please feel free to ask your questions at any given point of time, and I'll be looking into your questions every now and then. So heading right into it, of course, all the participants are muted right now, and you can use the chat to ask your questions. Right. So let me start off with a really bold statement, which I always put out on the screen whenever I start something like this. And it says that the world is changing and intelligence is leading that change, right? The pace of change right now is phenomenal, right? I mean, in the past 5 years, the way technology has grown, the emergence of AI, augmented reality, virtual reality, things like, doctors have started printing organs using 3D printers, and, you have virtual meetings everywhere. It's crazy the way the world is changing. And what this basically means for us is whenever there is change, that change is, and it's whenever there's a lasting change, what that basically does is that it impacts the way business is done, and it impacts the way, pretty much everything works in the economy. So from that perspective, we're going to talk about what are some of those levers which we need to take right now based on where the economy is, right? So let's look at this entire schematics of the change. And, to do this, let me actually create a timeline, a historical timeline right from the 1400s and see what's going to go on till 2050. So if I were to plot a curve of the change of technology, that curve would look something like this, right? Where from the 1400s to the 1850s, it was kind of gradual and slow. But the 1950 onwards, it really picked up, right? So the first major inventions in 1400s to the 1750, we have things like the printing press, the telescope, the steam engine, which came off. And that was pretty much it in that era. But what's really interesting is this question, Now imagine this, before you had a printing press in 1400, people were writing books on, books by hand and printing all newspapers using molds and things like that. But after the printing press is on, would you still write books by hand? Would you still write every newspaper by hand? The answer is no. Similarly, the moment you have a steam engine, would you still ride on horsebacks to go from one city to another city? The answer is again no. The point which I'm trying to drive is that the change which takes place because of a major technological shift, it's kind of a permanent change. And a lot of people at those points of time might have lost their jobs, people who were writing books or people who were riding horses, but then they quickly reskilled and retooled themselves to stay relevant, right? This entire period of about 350 years from the printing press to steam engine was the first industrial revolution, right? And then you move from the second industrial revolution in the next 100 years to light bulb and the telephone. And then, in the next 50 odd years, we had the car, the television, and the PC. And less than 50 years, you had mobile phones, internet, software industry, microprocessors, and everything was different, right? The first computer, when it came out, it was so big and clumsy that you couldn't really do anything with it. And today, some of you might be seeing this on your mobile phones. A single mobile phone today is more powerful than the entire series of supercomputers which existed back in the 1950s or slightly earlier. Now imagine the pace of that change, right? And just right now, in less than 20 years, you've got things like Facebook, Google, which basically, this entire schematics of data monetization, augmented reality, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, driverless cars, and then this phenomenon called singularity, which basically says and talks about the potential that what if one day bot or artificial intelligence becomes at par with human intelligence, right? And this entire era is known as Industry 4.0, and we're going to talk a little bit more about here. And let's zoom in a little bit further, right, and shorten the timeline from a 1900 to a 2050 kind of a period, and let's see how has business changed, how has the world of business and finance changed, right? Earlier, people were focused on core operations. Everybody wanted to improve the way they do things. A steel manufacturing unit wanted better machines to roll steel in a better way, and the whole focus was there. And as you move up this ladder, you basically hit a lower cost and better efficiency, right? This was the whole focus between the 1900 and the 1950s, and after which entire IT boom with IT transformation and IT management, right? And people realize that, hey, you know what, my core processes are not enough. We need to standardize things. We need to put things into structures and frameworks. And that's when all these ERPs and SAPs of the world started taking birth. And thereby I was also talking a little bit about it, that it used to be a massive effort for an organization to procure data centers, set that up, migrate all the data, move everybody into an ERP and all that stuff. After that, after organizations did that, they still wanted lower cost and better efficiency, right? And then that's when the entire BPO industry kind of set up, right? Your whole business process management and outsourcing, where people started looking at third world countries like India and some other geographies, where they said, all right, let's utilize cost arbitrage and outsource a ton of work to India. And that has also resulted in a significant cost benefit. But the world always needs more, and this is more relevant right now in COVID times, when people have realized that relying on workers isn't really enough all the time, and a lot of businesses have gotten disrupted because people just couldn't come to office and things like that. And hence today, we need processes which are automated, cognitive, and intelligent, which means add in as much automation as possible, automate as much decision making as possible, combine all of those technologies we were speaking about earlier. And most of these technologies are things like RPA, machine learning, artificial intelligence, blockchain, IoT, AR, VR, etc. Right? Now, one thing which I want to bring it out there in your consciousness is uh, I would strongly urge all of you to have basic awareness of all of these technologies. And the Digital Learning Hub, which is created by DAB, is a great way to acquire all that knowledge. If not that, you can just go do a simple Google search to get started. You should know what these technologies are and basically how they function, right? So coming right back to it, there were many different ways in which transformation can be achieved today using all of these methods. But the question right now, which we are concerned with, is, if businesses want automated, cognitive, and intelligent processes, how is it affecting the world of finance, right? And when I talk about the world of finance, I'm talking about if you're a CA firm, all of your customers, every single CEO and a CFO or a CIO of a company, all the governments, everywhere, the whole world of finance, how is it changing? Now, here are the top expectations which CFOs have from finance, which is the latest trend and which we're seeing in the industry right now. The number one requirement is more than 90% automation of transactional finance and accounting, right? Now, what is transactional finance and accounting? Transactional means something which is repetitive and transactional in nature, right? So for example, if you're processing an invoice, it's a very simple thing to do. It's repetitive, it's transactional, and it should be automated. So most CFOs today have the agenda of trying to see if they can automate this. They want to see more analytics and visual dashboards than data, right? Gone are the days where people used to work with raw core data. Everybody is more interested in intelligence, predictive analytics, more graphics and infographics and things like that. Thirdly, all the major organizations and large MNCs, they are emphasizing on faster book closing and lesser time to publish results. Back when about 10, 12 years back when I joined the industry, it used to take about 10 to 12 to 15 days after the closure of a quarter to actually close books of accounts and publish results. Those timelines have crunched now, and the expectations with the controllership and CFOs have is that you should be able to do this in not more than, say, 3 or 4 or maybe maximum 5 working days, right? Bulletproof compliance and filings, the total amount of compliance requirements has always gone up. It's always going to go up. And similarly, all your return filing and all the various types of regulatory reporting, all of that is going to continuously go up. And that needs to be bulletproof. Security there is really important. Automated and cloud integrated reporting systems, which means reporting automated as much as possible. Analytics and AI driven audit mechanism, and one big trend is no more random sampling. If you're doing audit today, random sampling is going to go away very soon. Nobody wants a random sampling kind of a report anymore. People want to rely on mechanisms where you audit the entire data, simply because statistics show us most of the organizations who deliberately wanted to do fraud, they masked that data, and it was there in the books of accounts, but it was masked in such a way that you would miss that when you would do something like a random sampling, right? Then reporting integration with smart assistants, so on and so forth. The baseline of all of this, and this is also what Dayabhai was also saying, is that the finance professional of the future will have no choice but to be extremely well versed with digital technologies to meet these needs. It's not really a choice. There will come a point of time when most of these things will get automated, and then for us to still remain relevant, we need to be the architects of that automation, right? We don't want to be the ones who are getting displaced by transformation, but we want to make sure that we are the ones who are disrupting that transformation, right? And I know what's going on in your mind right now. You're like, hey, I'm a finance professional. I'm a chartered accountant, man. Come on. I've studied law. I've studied audit. I've done, and there's too much technology. I'm not going to be able to do it. That's when I want to introduce you to this technology called RPA, or robotics process automation. It's a technology which can help you achieve, all of these things which I spoke about without writing a single line of code. I want you to basically believe that. RPA is a technology which helps you automate anything which is repetitive, which is defined with rules, or where you can define rules, and you can have separate sets of things around it. It's a piece of technology where you imagine a virtual worker, right? Just like we're not meeting together in person, we're having a virtual meeting. Similar to that, imagine that if somebody is, opening a general ledger and a subsidiary ledger and reconciling it manually. Now that reconciliation is always based on rules. Why can't it be automated? The answer is it definitely can be automated, right? Similarly, think of a scenario where you need to download data from the GST portal. You need to export data from tax. You reconcile them together and see, if the reconciliation is happening or not. That's also rule based. In fact, I've built solutions which completely automate the GST reconciliation end to end, right? And all those solutions can be built using this technology called RPA, right? So RPA is considered as one of the easiest, quickest, and the most effective technologies to automate the world of finance and accounting. Now, before I move further, I want to show you what RPA bot looks like. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to have audio in this. So I'm going to talk you through as this video plays, right? So in this video, what we're going to see is an actual robotics process automation bot in action. Let me quickly validate if you're able to hear audio. All right, so I can hear on my earphone that you're not able to get the audio clearly. So let me narrate this to you. Now, in this example, what we're going to show is there is going to be a bot which is going to work with all of these applications which you see on your screen right now. including Terminal, Salesforce, some accounting software, a Word document, PDF, SAP, email, etc. Right? Typical scenario, right? Where you have to open up multiple applications, do multiple things, so on and so forth. Now, in this example, what you'll see is there's going to be a real actual bot. It will open up all of these applications, process all the transactions, all of them ground, and give you the desired results, right? So here you have an Excel file which has 3 rows of names of people and their email IDs and their employee numbers in SAP. And what you need to do is it basically needs to do some transactions with that, where it first starts off with the terminal, and it needs to go to the terminal and make some, open some applications using that. It has to work with Salesforce, which is another business application. It has to work with, various different applications as it moves along. Then finally, it has to generate a report in a Word document, convert that into a PDF, and send that out attachment, right? And while it is doing all of those things, it will also update SAP as the final record keeping system that, hey, you know what, all of these things are done, right? So now let's see how the bot actually functions. Now it picks up the first item, which is George Adams in this case. It is automatically doing that. And if you see, it opened up the terminal on the left side, Salesforce on the right side, SAP somewhere on the left side, and on the right side, again, SAP. It's able to open all of these things up very, very quickly, and it is processing right now. If you see, it is searching in Salesforce, obtaining the data, opened another application, entered some information, copied some information, put it into the Word document. I can't even talk that fast, right? The goes into SAP, it enters the employee number, it enters the respective source for the second account. Imagine if a human user were to do this, and it would take phenomenal amounts of time. It would result in and if you can see, right, sent out the email has gone, so on and so forth, right? So that's basically the example. And I'll just quickly pause there because I just wanted to show you the bot in action. And imagine, and I'm sure you can imagine right now that there is so much amounts of manual work which everybody does, which involves working with so many different applications and doing a whole lot of stuff. All of that can be automated. What if I told you that today, where you are at right now, and you do not know anything about this technology, from this stage to building an automation like this, which can work with various applications and all that, you could do it by yourself without spending a single rupee on learning anything using open source learning, and build this bot in less than, say, you'll spend about 25 days learning it, 2 hours, 3 hours a day. And then to build this entire bot, you don't need more than half a day's effort. And then I'm sure you'll have your jaws drop, because this kind of a technology, it has never been seen before, right? Earlier, to achieve any automation, you had to write lines and lines and lines and lines of code, right? And that used to be a very tedious process, but that changes now with technologies like RPA. Now that I've actually shown you this bot, I also wanted to tell you that, all the major big fours and the large accounting firms and all the companies are today using this technology. Now, this for an auditor or for a CA professional, this means things, right? One of the things this means is you need to be able to audit environments in which bots are present, right? How are you going to do that? Suppose it's somewhere accounting is happening in an environment where the the accounting itself is happening using bots. So how do you take care of that scenario? That's number one. Number two, how do you build bots to do audit? So there are multiple things. The way bookkeeping is done today, that's going to phenomenally change, and that has already changed in various different companies. And this is another video here. I don't want to play it, but just want to give you a gist of it. This is some kind of a competition which Deloitte had somewhere in Europe, where they wanted to put 4 of their best tax consultant against a bot filing some expense reports or something. And then let me just quickly move forward. Yeah, so it says that their analysts were doing this entire piece, and if you can see, there's a timer here which said there was a task assigned, and they had to finish that task in certain amount of time. And they also found this a way to put this as a competition. So if you see right now, they are doing this saying, and he's asking that how many invoices have you done. This guy has done 31 invoices. That's quite a lot of invoices for a small period of time. And the other gentleman has done about 22. And then you can see the bot in action now. They are up against the bot. The bot is doing this themselves, doing all of these different entries, automatically extracting data from invoices, reading it, putting it out there, done. It just does that so fast, right? And the bot, the three students together issued 129 invoices. And what did the bot do? The bot did 192 on its own, right? So let me again quickly pause it there. Now think about that. Three people, three of their best guys took whatever time together to do 129 invoices, and the bot could do 192, one single bot on its own. The cost of this bot is a fraction of a cost when compared to the cost of these three gentlemen out there. So that's the scale of change I'm talking about, right? Let me quickly see if you guys have given me any questions so far. Let me see, how can I do that? I'm gonna stop sharing for a bit. And
So just
chat, do we have any questions so far? No questions so far. So guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to pop in. I'm sorry, somebody was trying to say something. Please go ahead. Was anyone trying to say something? No. So let me continue, right? Okay, Rachit asked a question, where do we learn this? So Rachit, there are multiple different RPA platforms which are out there. The one which I showed right now is a tool called UiPath. So the two prominent tools are UiPath, and I'm going to talk a little bit about tools, and there's another one called Automation Anywhere. You can just search online UiPath Academy or Automation Anywhere Academy, where they have these places where you can go ahead and learn this, right? So let me get back to the presentation. In the meanwhile, guys, whenever you have questions, please drop those questions in. So let me just now elaborate a little bit further of what is RPA and how this technology works. So just like industrial robots and machines led to the entire industrial revolution, now we are looking at a software automation revolution, which is being triggered by robotics process automation. RPA lets organizations automate their current tasks as if a real person was doing that, right? When you saw that example, you could feel that, almost as if a real person was going and doing it. And that's the way RPA works. Now, imagine every single thing you do, there's a lot of manual work which you do. All of it is going to get eliminated using RPA, and you can automate all of those things using RPA. Some myths about RPA, which I want to debunk today. First, these are virtual bots. These are not your moving robots. These are software bots. It's installed on your computer. It's you can download the installation file for as small as say 100 megabyte file. You have open source, free community editions for all of these different RPA tools. You can download them and get started. It's not only for high volume operations. Don't think that it's only for very highly repetitive work. Today there are examples, and I'm actually where bots can look at an actual invoice, and it can kind of read data from that invoice, right? That can also be done. So it's got a lot of artificial intelligence built into it. It's not a large IT systems integration project, right? Now I want to go back again to what Dayabhai said, that implementing an ERP tedious task. Earlier, whenever you wanted to build a large transformation project or a large IT transformation project, it used to cost a lot of money, take a lot of time. It used to be really tedious and tiring for you to do that. But RPA is very, very small. After we end this meeting, you can Google search, download your RPA software, put yourself through a 2 to 3 day training, start building your bots. It's as simple as that, right? Now, another myth is that it is going to replace humans. Bots are going to take away my job. Now, I want to be very clear and transparent and fair to all of you. It is true that bots are taking away jobs. Lots of these layoff news is news which you heard even pre-COVID, is where humans were being replaced by bots because we are in the middle of another revolution. Just like when you had steam engine, you don't need to go back on horseback. Similarly, when you have bots which can automate a lot of the work, you don't need people to do brainless tasks, right? So all your data entry roles, all your different kinds of areas which are very rule based, reading data, entering data, navigating multiple applications, creating reports, emailing, following up. All those things can be replaced, done with RPA. That being said, the intention is all the areas where you need to have advisory functions, you need to have judgments, you need to have an expert opinion, which is what we CAs are really good at. Those things are going to still remain with us. So it works together with and does not replace humans. It increases the possibilities of performing value-added work, and it can self-fund itself in as less as 3 months, right? This is also really critical. What this is basically saying is that you don't need to wait for a lot of time to get your return on investment. If you make an investment, even for a large organization, you can get the returns back, really quickly. So what are the typical outcomes if you implement RPA? Reduces the human efforts by about 20 to 50%. It's faster by at least on means it does to have multiple technical integration with other applications. It's one of the most cost-effective transformation solutions out there. It's extremely accurate. Most of my customers who want to implement RPA, especially in finance areas and regulatory compliance areas, they want to do it because they can be sure that the bot is not going to make any mistake. You're filing a return. It just can't make a mistake, right? It reduces your cost by at least 20%. 20% is an understatement. It actually reduces your operating cost by at least 40%. Now, I never advise people to do RPA unless they're getting at least a 40% return, right? And your returns on investment are much faster. Typically, in 4 to 5 months of your implementation, you get your ROI, right? Now, the next question is, I'm sure some of you are having these questions that this sounds really good. Two things, right? One, how do I get started? Where do I learn? So I'm going to share, I saw some questions also around that. I'm going to share with you where can you learn this. Second question is, what do I automate? I'm a finance professional. Where do I start? Now, there are certain key rules which if you follow, you can identify what are the best candidates for robotics process automation. The first thing is processes which are highly manual and repetitive. You do the same thing again and again. For example, somebody processes 1,000 invoices a day, repetitive. Bank reconciliation needs to happen once, let's say every month, repetitive. So those things are best. Things which are rule-based, it's ideal to have scenarios which are rule-based, which have less of judgment and decision-making. Cases with low exception rate, which basically means you have lesser chances of an exception or an anomaly. For example, let's say you've created a bot to do invoice processing, and one day you get a handwritten invoice. So that's an exception. It's difficult to process that. So as long as you have about 10% exception, that's fine. But anything more than that is not good. Processes with standard readable electronic input type, again, it means, it doesn't work very well with handwritten stuff, but whatever is computer generated is good. High volumes is good, but you need to be careful for cases where, the processing method. A lot of organizations do not implement technologies like RPA when they are in the middle of a large IT transformation project. So for example, if they are upgrading to a new ERP, that's not a good time to do RPA because your new system is going to be different and you need to reprogram all of your bots, right? Automation savings is almost always in terms of your savings in terms of reduction in your FTE cost. Now, FTE stands for full-time efforts, right? So almost always you want to see that if I automate this, how much money am I going to save by replacing an individual with a bot? And how can I redeploy that human being to do more value-added tasks? And it's always more suitable for really mature and stable processes which are strong, which are old, which are not new, so on and so forth, right? Now you must be thinking of, what are these softwares, what are these tools, so on and so forth. So there are many different RPA tools out there, right? Now, the bot example which I gave you, you can create that kind of a bot with almost any of these different tools which is out there. Now, how do you select which tool you get started with? Now, there are two primary market leaders, and they are Automation Anywhere and UiPath. These are the two market leaders, and you can just note down their names, go online, search for them, and you can start working with them. And then there are many others. There's something called Blue Prism, there is Pega, there is Kofax, Softomotive, and just for your information, this company UiPath is officially now the fastest growing company ever in the history of enterprise software companies. Their growth rates are phenomenal. They've all become multi-billion-dollar unicorn startups, so on and so forth, right? So this is a good view of the top 10 firms across various different categories. And guys, of course, I'll be sharing a copy of this presentation with Chairman Sir, and you can request it from him, and you can get a copy of this for reference, right? Now, how do you do an RPA deployment? Let's say that you want to now want to use this technology somewhere. First, you have to identify the business process. Where do you want to do process transformation? Where do you want to do automation? And for that, again, these rules which I spoke about, they are the best possible rules for you. That if something fits in these categories, then the identification is done. After the identification, you have to select, okay, but is everything automatable, or can only some parts of it be automated? So you do that mapping to select those transactions to be automated. Then what you do is you evaluate the impact of RPA across the rest of the function. So it should not disturb some other system somewhere. Then finally, you create something called a process design document where you map out every step. So if a human being is pressing Alt tab to go to a next screen, if it is entering a particular field, you create that mapping at a very detailed level. And then based on that mapping, you develop your entire RPA project using one of these RPA tools. And it's very interesting, the way you work with these RPA tools. You don't have to write any code. It's all drag and drop. You can say that, okay, open this application, click here, extract this information. It's very intuitive. When you start working with it, it's got lots and lots of features. For people here who might have worked with Excel macros earlier, you might be thinking, this sounds more like an Excel macro. But think of it like this: an Excel macro which is applicable for anything. You can automate you can work with websites, you can work with any applications, you can work with remote desktop instances. You can even connect this with your mobile phone, and you can pretty much do anything. So it's a very easy to use software, but the software is very complex. It's very, very capable. And then finally, after you've done identify, select, evaluate, mapping, and development, you do the final testing where you test the piece of your code for multiple different situations, and based on the success of that test, you finally roll it out, and you see that you roll that software out, and it's an enterprise level rollout after that point of time. And then coming back to the first step, right? I want to spend more time here because I can't teach you RPA today. My intention is to tell you that, number one, there's a big change which is going to transform everything in business and the way business works. Number two, how does the technology work? I wanted to give you a flavor. Third, I wanted to show you what are some of the softwares and how do you plan a deployment. But I want to spend more time or right now on what can you do, right? What are some of the business processes which you can pick up? So for that, what we have done is that we've created uh, the opportunities heat map. And I'm sorry, I did not introduce my organization. I'm one of the founders of MindMap Digital, which is a sister concern of MindMap Consulting, and we work with various organizations in doing this process transformation, automation, and all that stuff, right from small and medium businesses to Fortune 500 companies, right? And what we have done is for all the different finance and accounting processes, we've categorized them into two categories, right? One is called transactional finance and accounting, and the second one is specialist corporate finance roles. Now, within transactional F&A, you have things like procure to pay, order to cash, and record to report. Within specialist corporate finance roles, you have FP&A, treasury, taxation, legal, and audit. And within each one of them, we've identified that value streams, which are those sub-processes which carry a high automation potential, a medium automation potential, a low automation potential, or a very low automation potential, or maybe no automation potential, right? And this thing is called a heat map, right? So what you see here is, so for example, let's take the example of record to report. Now, in general accounting, it has very high automation potential because it is rule-based. Similarly, in reconciliations, rule-based, you can do it very easily. But for invoice approval, now you don't want a bot to be approving invoices, right? If you want to do that, then it's very risky. So it doesn't have it has a very low automation potential. Similarly, within FP&A, planning and budgeting, you can't do much, in terms of automation because it is decision based. But what you can do is consolidating all the reports, creating an automated templates, creating a portal where all of these things can be stored, so on and so forth. So, I'll be sharing a copy of this. This can be a really good starting point for you to think of, what are those areas where I can try and do some RP. And guys, I'm a very strong believer of learning while doing, right? So if you are serious about taking up digital, and it's wonderful that you guys have joined this. It shows your intent that you want to do something like this. If you are really serious about doing this, you have to get started somewhere. And one of the best ways of getting started is to look at this kind of a heat map, see that within your practice or within your organization or within whatever your business or whatever you do, what is that one area out from this heat map which has high potential, right? And then whatever I am marking with the star, this is right now, really popular in the industry. In industry, these are one of the best automation scenarios right now. Okay. Now, I had an example here where, let me quickly show that. Now, the example, what we're going to do is, it's a complete automation of invoice processing, right? Where, and we built this for one of our customers. Now here, what is going to automatically see if a new invoice is coming in the email. It will download that invoice, which is a PDF invoice. It will extract information from that invoice, all the details like, all the fields, date, party name, amount, tax amount, so on and so forth. It will categorize that invoice, whether it is a PO based or a non-PO based invoice. And then it will also go ahead and make accounting entries in the ERP. Okay. So let's see this bot in action, right? So now what you see is that Gmail where you have 3 PDF invoices which are present. And then let me go ahead and start the bot. If I start the bot, which is a UiPath bot, I can just click on start. And then what the bot is doing in the background, it is downloading all of these invoices in a particular folder. It is storing it in a particular folder, and it will create multiple folders to see what is done. So it says it has done 4 PDFs, got 1 email with 4 PDFs. Now let's go ahead and open up that folder. If we go ahead and open up that folder, we'll see that within that Explorer, where I've basically stored that folder somewhere in this account payable folder. Within this, I have multiple folders, right? Email download, email extracted, email failed, Excel pending, Excel process. So email download is blank. because I've already extracted information from these invoices, right? So these are the 4 invoices from which information has already been extracted by the bot. Now let's open one of these invoices, right? If you see, this is a proper invoice with name of the company, the date, the vendor, the customer, invoice number, line item, payment terms, taxation, everything. It does that for all the 4 invoices, and whatever it fails, it will put in the failed folder. Now let's open up the spreadsheet and see what is the information it extracted. For every invoice, if you open up the Excel file, it extracted all the information. This is just for the first invoice, where it extracted the name of the company, the line item number, line item level information, so on and so forth. It got everything extracted, right? Now, once it has extracted, bot is where it will actually make entry into the ERP system. So I'll start the next bot. Now, in this customer's case, the ERP system being used is Oracle EBS, which is similar to SAP. And I'm just entering a random batch name here to show that it's going to make entry. So what the bot is going to do now is it is opening up Oracle, enter the login credentials in a flash. It navigates to the respective screen. In any ERP event tally, you have to go to a particular screen. And once it is in that particular screen, it is going to manage all the pop-ups, all the warnings, so on and so forth. And it goes to a particular stage where, it will start entering. So I'm going to just skip some of this login process. Now, this is where it makes the entries. Within invoices, it will go. And now it will create a new batch. Within that new batch, now it is going to start entering all the information. So for the first invoice, you see it automatically enters all the details: PO number, trading party, supply number, site information, date, etc. And within the invoice processing, it also does the line item level entry, saying that I'm not only entering the entire header details, but also entering the line item level details of that invoice. So line item 1 had such and such details, so on and so forth. Now, after it has done this, after the line item level details, it actually matches it with the purchase order, in a typical 3-way match kind of a scenario. So it is also doing the function of a 2-way match or a 3-way match. And after it has done this, it basically sends it for approval. Once it is approved, it also goes ahead and creates the accounting entry, right? So for me to show you a demo here, let me just move forward. It goes on. I'm forcing an approval here because I don't want to waste time in getting approved from somebody else. And then I can just go ahead and create a journal entry. So imagine, right? This is an actual example of a real working bot, which any organization can use to automate the entire invoice processing. Invoices are being downloaded, information is being extracted, putting it into Excel files, validating it, getting it approved, so on and so forth, right? So this is one example I wanted to show. What are the typical kind of benefit? This is one business case for one of my customers, which implemented this solution and saved about $1.5 million over a period of 3 years, which resulted in about 46% of savings, right? For all of your customers, trust me, guys, you have similar where they have an accounting team, they have a commercial team, they have an accounts payable team. They're doing a lot of manual processing work, all of which can be automated. So very quickly, I just want to give you a flavor of this. This is a much more detailed heat map of the various possibilities of ways in which things can be automated, which I just wanted to show you. And I just very quickly want to talk about, while in depth we've spoken about robotics process automation, as a chartered accountant, you need to know some more technologies, things like analytics, cloud and mobility, AI, machine learning, cybersecurity, blockchain. And I know that your Bangalore branch keeps on having lots of sessions to spread awareness about these. So please join all of them. The reason I wanted to emphasize more on RPA for your modernization of the CA practice is because it is the fastest possible way for you to achieve a transformation project. Learning analytics time, learning machine learning and AI takes a lot of time. Chain is expensive, it takes time. And But RPA is fast, free, you can do it. Of course, you need to purchase licenses if you're doing enterprise grade implementations, but initially you can kind of get started for free, right? And I just have about 15 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'll take 5 more minutes to give you a little bit of a roadmap of how you can modernize your CA practice using all of these technologies. And then I'm going to open it up, look at your questions, and we can have a little bit more interaction around questions, right? So for all of these different areas of practice, it can be audit, GST or tax consulting. If you're into corporate finance, if you're into finance advisory consulting, or if you just want to digitize your office, there are 3 different levels of digital expertise which you can bring in across all of these 5 areas. Now, within audit, level 1 is to use CAT and other tools for analytics. Level 2 is to automate all of that using RPA. Level 3 is to use artificial intelligence as an audit assistant, right? So it's a very, very big trend where companies are investing into finding AI-based audit assistants. Similarly, in GST and tax consulting, I told you earlier also, I have myself built an entire GST automation product. You can also give it a try. So create your GST reporting and automation products. And finally, you can in level 3 market it as a solution developed by a firm. Within corporate finance, first think of areas you can automate to modernize your practice. The second thing which you can do is to use advanced visualization tools like Power BI and Tableau to create good, rich dashboards. If you remember, we spoke on a slide of the top priorities of CFOs. One of the top priorities was to use visualization software, and then to create predictive analytics and early warning system engines also. Similarly, in digital finance consulting, you can start creating your own use cases, create some examples on RPA, write some white papers, select an area and become an expert there. Similarly, when it comes to very simple, basic things like digitizing your office, the first thing you should do is move data to the cloud, make sure you have a good backup mechanism, implement some small scale ERP to modernize your practice. And then, of course, you should look at things like RPA and digital marketing and some of these areas, right? And very quickly, the world of finance is going to change. The finance of yesterday and the finance of tomorrow is very different, right? And I'm going to talk about this for both finance professional services and corporate finance roles. So earlier, where you had tax filing services, now you will have tax filing automation. Where you had traditional audit and assurance, you will have AI and RPA-driven audit. Where you had a push-based MIS and reporting system, now you will have analytics and visualization on cloud. Where you had traditional transactional advisory, now you will have decision impact forecasting, where it can automatically say, if I take this decision, if I acquire this company, what are the possible scenarios I can be in? Where you had engagement on demand, your customers used to call you and say, hey, please do this for me. You can have analytics driven demand generation. I have so many people I'm working with who have used excellent digital marketing and digital branding techniques to get more clientele. Similarly, in corporate finance, finance was earlier seen as a support function. Now it is integrated with business. Earlier, it used to respond to business needs. Now it forecasts business outcomes. Earlier, where we had manual push-based reporting, now we have cloud-based automated reporting. Manual controllership is automated. Traditional internal audit is more AI and RPA driven. Descriptive reporting, which just described what happened, is now moving into predictive analytics, right? So, I just want to close with a note that please remember that RPA is dominated by process. This is not a tool to be used by IT people. This is the tool to be used by functional experts. There is a tremendous demand in the industry for a finance professional to learn RPA and do some of these automations, right? And to do this, the first thing you should do is train yourself, build your capability, strategize your first digital project. Don't be afraid of technology. It's not that difficult. Remember, it does not require coding in RPA. And finally, please, go ahead and make a lot of money. I'm sure this is a language which all of us understand. There's a lot of potential out there, a lot of demand, very little supply of good talent. And I just want to I'm going to answer some of the questions now. But before I do that, you can stay connected with me. Here is my LinkedIn ID. Here is my email address, and here is a QR code. You can just scan it using your phone. It'll take you to my LinkedIn. Please send me an ad request, and you can always reach out to me for any of your areas. I'll be really, really happy if I can be of any assistance in you to set up your digital practice, to scale up your firm. If you have any potential opportunities where you want to implement RP, you need advice, or any support with some more documents. If you want to know where you can learn this, anything, I'm really very, very open to helping out, and I've taken this as a personal mission to build at least 1,000 digital CA practitioners in the next 1.5, 2 years, who can really make a big difference to our CA fraternity. So please stay in touch, and now I'm going to go over to chat and see if there are any questions. Can we use this for doing data entry job for accounting for MSMEs? Absolutely, we can do this. It's a really, really good use case where we can do this for accounting for MSMEs. Where to learn this thing? I think a lot of you have asked about where can you learn this. Well, you can learn this, as I said, for these prominent tools which are there. Let me go back to that slide. If you pick up just two of these, so Automation Anywhere and UiPath, both of them have free complimentary online learning academies. You're going to actually also get certified there. So please go over there, and that's a good place for you to learn this. And that's pretty much it, guys. That's all I wanted to kind of share today. We still have 8 minutes left as part of the session today, and I'm going to again maybe take a quick pause and see if you guys have any questions at this point of time. So if anybody has any questions, they can ask those questions now.
Sir, questions in the this thing Q&A.
Okay.
I'll ask one by one, sir. How do we develop the BOT bot?
Okay. So to develop the bot, step number one is that you have to first start working with one of these RPA tools, right? So all of these RPA tools which I mentioned about, like UiPath, Automation Anywhere. So you download one of these tools, and then you learn how to build a bot. And there are these academies present online which can teach you how, again, by UiPath and Automation Anywhere, all free of cost, where you can learn this. And it's very easy. It's all drag and drop, and you can basically start building that bot from there. Okay, I can actually see the questions now. So that was question one. Now, let me try and see if I can get to the next question. Is ICAI imparting practical training on RPA? Yes, there is a RPA course on the Digital Learning Hub. Please go there. It's a great place to get started. That is one place where you can get started with learning RPA. It's a very good introductory course. And after you've done that, you can always go back and learn more technical stuff. Kritesh asked, this is in a layer on top of a digital practice. We are currently struggling with the digital transformation itself. Can any RPA process help with that change? So Kritesh, first of all, thank you for that wonderful question. And that's a great acceptance, actually, that we are currently struggling with digital transformation itself. Now, there are three important things here, the way I see it. The first important thing is the change of mindset. We have to stop thinking that we are struggling with digital transformation. The way we operate is already transformed. It's, we make it too big. We feel that it's too much of an effort to learn digital transformation where it is not. So it's not really a struggle in that sense. So that mindset needs to change, where you need to be open to learning and get ahead with it. The second thing here is acquiring the right skill sets, right? So RPA is a skill set. Learning AI is a skill set. So choose your skill set. And the third thing is picking the right tool. So your question, can any RPA process help with that change? Absolutely. There are RPA tools out there. There are these things called discovery bots. Now, what a discovery bot does is that it studies all of your systems and recommends where is digital transformation even possible. So you can go ahead and you can go ahead and do your digital transformation there. So RPA can definitely help with that. The next question is, inventory aging report is not available in SAP. This is required in COVID times. What is your opinion on having spent money on SAP if you do not get inventory aging analysis report? So Srinivas, I cannot talk on SAP's behalf. You're absolutely right. Some really fundamental things people have missed in some of the tools, and that is where the role of technologies like RPA is significant, because you can use the technology like RPA to automatically create that aging report in SAP, right? You can download the inventory data and you can yourself define that aging report. So you don't worry about the money spent in SAP, whatever is gone is gone. But imagine you can do this entire thing, you can build this entire thing in not less than, in not more than 2 to 3 days. That's all the time you take if you want to build it. So you can absolutely do that. Vinayak's question is, can we automate email reply when clients ask basic data like give me financials, tax returns of the last years? Absolutely, Vinayak. There are 3 different ways in which this can be done. Now, you would have heard of things like chatbots, right? What is a chatbot? A chatbot, like if you go on a bank website, you ask some basic questions like, what is my balance, or I want to change my password. You can create chatbots very easily and give that access to a customer, saying that you can have a website saying, please, ask your basic queries to chatbots. And you can link that chatbot to your backend database. It can give all the exam answers there. That is option number 1. Option number 2, can you automate email reply also? Absolutely. You can automate email reply. Now, if you remember, I showed you an example where the bot was able to read and interact with the email, right? Similarly, the bot can use the technology called natural language processing, right? NLP, or natural language processing. It can understand the query of your customer and it can basically respond with the email saying that, hey, you know what, I think this is what you wanted, and here is the thing. And you can include buttons in your email saying that, yes, this solved my problem, or no, it did not solve my problem. And if the customer clicks on no, it did not solve my problem, then you can get an email saying that, hey, the customer's problem is not solved, so please intervene manually, right? So there is this technology called deflection. What deflection basically means is, you first try automating things using a bot, and if it does not work, you divert that to a human user, right? Now, for some of the banks also, I have an account with Kotak Bank. I think Kotak Bank did this, or some other bank, where you don't need to press buttons anymore. When you call up their helpline, it will say that, can you please tell us what is your problem is? And I say that I want to change my credit card PIN, for example. It automatically detects that I'm talking about credit card. Then it says, I think you have a query regarding your credit card. So do you want to change your PIN? If yes, say I want to change my PIN, something like that, right? So it's becoming intuitive. So all of those layers of interaction and interactiveness is possible when you want to work with a bot. Okay. Mohan Das asked the question, how do you assure the integrity of data when it is automated? So Mohan Das, phenomenal question, fantastic question. And people are struggling with this today. Now, when you automate, think of it in 2-3 different ways, right? people want to automate things which are repetitive and transactional in nature. But you can always have exceptions. Now, what if you get a type of an invoice for which you did not build the logic to program to process that invoice? And what if that invoice is a small amount invoice? It is sitting somewhere in the backend. Hence, there is a big need for setting up the right security architecture frameworks around any RPA implementation, right? And I am currently doing a lot of work on that. And all the major risk compliance functions, risk advisory functions of the big fours and large consulting firms are also doing a lot of work in that to ensure that number one, how do I audit the data processed by bots, right? How do I audit if the bot have done their job the way they were supposed to do it or not, right? How do I audit the integrity of the data which is automated? So there is a big framework around it. There are best practices. Remember I spoke about creating something called the process design document, which is the document which is created when you're building a bot. The process design document needs to be audited. The bot creates certain bot logs. Those bot logs need to be audited. The bot files need to be audited to see that there are no exceptions, and all these different things needs to be done to see if the data integrity is actually intact, right? The second thing is to, if you are using bots as a part of your audit process, how do you ensure the integrity of that data, right? So pick field there. I will not be surprised if I see some internal control standards or accounting standards or auditing standards which can come up, which we can call digital accounting standards, which can come up in the next maybe couple of years to take care of these things. At an international level, a lot of work is happening, in these areas. Can you please show making a bot on screen? Question by Anant. Anant, I'm really sorry, but the time we have today is not sufficient. It's for me to just start a particular tool and show you how that tool works is going to take a lot of time. But let me still see if I can still show you something of what basically bot making looks like. So what I've started now, and sorry, I have to share my screen again. So let me share my screen. Yeah, my screen is shared. So I'm going to start this software called UiPath. So UiPath is one of the RPA tools. You can create bots in this particular RPA tool. And I will spend maybe 5 to 7 minutes to just show you how a particular bot is created. And then I have lots of pre-created bots. I don't know if I can probably show some of those. So what happens here is, this is the place where you basically create bots. Now let me open one of the bots which I have previously created, and I will basically show how that entire process is done, right? Now, as you open this thing up, this entire place where I am creating this bot, this thing is a development studio, right? So in a development studio, what you do is you define the workflows and create the bots, right? Now let me open up this. This is one of the bots. So within this project, I have multiple different types of bots which I've created. Now, a little bit of an overview of why I created this bot. So for some of the client work which we do, there needs to be a lot of data entry from one system to the other system. And for that, I've created a bot here. Now, the way you basically do it is, this is the place where you design your workflows. So for example, here what the bot is doing is, it is going to open this Excel file called ap.xlsx. And then once it opens that Excel file, it will read a particular range from that Excel file. And for every row in that Excel file, it is going to do some computations. So if there's a condition there, if the condition is yes, then there is a lot of actions which will happen, right? What are those actions? Those actions are these, where it is going to go to a particular website, it is going to register, it is going to enter all the details and data entry fields. If you can see this, you can actually see snapshots of some of those data entry screens which are there, right? So all I need to do is, there are multiple different controllers which can be assigned to creating bots. So these controllers, for example, this is called a click event. So the bot will simulate a click. This is called input event. So the bot will find this particular box, right? This box which says, how did you hear about us? and within that they will enter this kind of an information. So it's very easy. If you want to create a new bot, just click on a new sequence, and then in this entire place, all you have to do is drag and drop the various activities there, and things like that. So for example, one of the activities, maybe the first thing I want to do is maybe open a website, right? So I use a browser event or a web event or open browser event. So if I do open browser, it will just say that, okay, oh, it will open a particular browser. It is asking which browser type. It's very intuitive. So after I've opened the browser, maybe I can say, go to, let's say, linkedin.com, then open my messages, read all the messages, reply to some of the messages on their own, so on and so forth. So this is a little bit of an example, but just wanted to give you a little bit of a feel since you asked about it. Of course, I can't really show you the entire thing because it's a really long process, but yeah, just wanted to show that. Hope that is a little helpful. Okay, all right. So I think these are all the questions which we had so far. I think we have, okay, Anant says, thank you. You're most welcome, Anant. All right, so guys, I wanted to spend a little bit more time on questions because I'll wait for maybe some more time and see if you guys have any more questions. Maybe if somebody wants to unmute themselves and ask Srinivasa sir, I don't know if that's possible. If somebody wants to interact one-on-one, we can do that also.
No, they have to enter in the Q&A this thing only.
All right. Okay.
Sir, are any other tools available? One question from Praveen Jain.
Sure. So there are multiple tools. Let me again share my screen. These are all the different tools which I spoke about on this slide here. So, I gave you an example of this tool called UiPath, and then there are multiple. There are maybe, the 10 to 15 tools are really good, and all these tools are available. Of course, I'll share a copy of this so that you can have it handy.
Thank you.
Any more questions, guys?
How many days? Any course on RPA, sir? Minimum 1 month, 15 days course or something like that?
See,
To
it's
know the
all
basics.
self-paced. Basics, you can spend maybe 2 hours a day, 2 to 3 hours a day, and you can, get done with it. Actually, a lot of people ask that. Let me show how people can get that training. So if you just go to and search for, say, UiPath Academy, and you go to this link academy.uipath.com, and this is where you can just register. And after registering, you can log in with one of these tools. Let me just quickly do that with my LinkedIn, and yeah, and show you how that whole thing works. You'll see a lot of different courses which are out there, and you can select one of the courses and just get started. It's as easy as that, right? So something like RPA starter, it's you can do that for the first thing, and then if you go to courses, there are multiple certifications which are there. You can get started with the starter course, and you can see one of these things. That's a good way to start. Similarly, you also have the Automation Anywhere Academy, university.automationanywhere.com. So these are two really good places where you can get started. Okay. What is the typical profile of a client where RPA and bots can find application based on your experience? Sindhuja, that's a fantastic question. RPA can be done for pretty much anybody. You can do it for anyone. In my experience, the awareness is missing for small and medium businesses. The awareness is very high for mid-market businesses and enterprise customers. So the application, what is the thumb rule for finding application? If you have repetitive manual processes which is being done by people currently, then you can always find a lot of application, because there's going to be a scenario where you can save cost. So it's really up to the customer where you can do this, right? How is Blue Prism, as a question by Ajay? So Ajay, Blue Prism was one of the first RPA tools which came ever into the market. They are called amongst the inventors of RPA. It's a very, very good tool. However, personally, I have seen customers preferring UiPath and automation anywhere much more, because Blue Prism is a much older technology. The cognitive components, or the artificial intelligence components, auto-resolving components, and the ease of use is much better for automation anywhere in UiPath. But Blue Prism, that being said, is a fantastic technology. Sangeeta asked, how do you expertise yourself? Sangeeta, three steps again. First, learn, get started. Second, think of one area of application where you can apply this. Make sure it is a success. And third, start some complex scenarios. Imagine, right? I have a friend of mine who's working with Alexa, and using Alexa, it is making accounting entries. So it is saying, Alexa, hey, Alexa, can you make an accounting entries for purchasing 5 trucks from such and such company? It can actually understand that and make an accounting entry, right? I'm working on another project where clients can send WhatsApp messages to a business WhatsApp account. So imagine if you're a CA firm, you receive a WhatsApp message saying that, I want to know my account, I want to know if my tax returns are filed. The WhatsApp connects to your backend system, gives that response to the client automatically, and all of this can happen. So for your expertise, what is really important is that you get your hands dirty, you start with these projects, and you can kind of reach anywhere with that. Mohandas says it was very useful for both industries and practice, very motivating as well. People thought when the 737 Max was grounded, it was going to change some of this machinery. Yeah, absolutely right, Mohandas. That's a fantastic example, and thank you for saying that you liked it. Is there any bot tool for design and parameterization for design in real estate? So Ravi, Ravi Chandran, great question. It can be built. I've worked on a particular prototype of a bot where what the bot does is that the bot basically, for one of my telecommunication clients, they make a lot of these diagrams, which are network architecture diagrams, which is based on specifications and Excel files. So that can be done. However, it's very complex. And you might want to do it only if the application is right. But can it be done? Yes, it can. Has it been done? I haven't seen so far. So maybe you can basically be a pioneer in that state. Srinivasa sir, any other questions which I might have missed so far? Sir, you might be on mute.
Okay, majority of the questions are covered. One more question: can we use this for doing data entry job for accounting for MSME? I think you have covered.
Oh, absolutely, we can do it. That's a very easy use case.
Okay. That's it, sir. No other questions.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Srinivasa sir, for having me here. And I, thank all of you once again for attending this, being a part of it. I hope I was able to add some value. I can just see some more questions. I'm going to answer that. What type of systems are required for this, Jayant? You don't need anything fancy. An i5 processor, 8 GB of RAM should be good enough. Any coding required for creating a bot? No, there's no coding required. Coding is still required in some really fancy bots, but very complex, code free. It's a zero code platform, and yeah. So, guys, thank you so much for being here with me and being a part of this. You have my email address. You have my entire LinkedIn account as well. Please feel free to reach out. I'm always available, and I'll be really happy if I can add any value to your journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. It was a really nice session because a lot of members and viewers are got motivated and they intuit to do something in RPA. Really, this session it's value added very well, and they are motivated. I thank you on behalf of Bangalore branch of ICA for your time and efforts in sharing the knowledge, valuable knowledge. Thank you, sir. And I also thank all the members who actively participated. Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you guys. See you again some other time. Have a great evening.